In this video, you'll discover mind-blowing facts, from the demonstration of wormholes to a secret fact about why gold is precious than diamond, and something that shook all of Japan. A dark secret of Mount Fuji has made the entire world feel like it's in danger. And why did Nikola Tesla shock his own body with electricity? You'll learn about such unknown, unique facts across different categories today. Fact number 13. The nuclear bomb that destroyed Hiroshima and turned the city into steam used 50 kilograms of uranium. You might have heard this before, but let me show you something truly mind-blowing. Imagine a small cube so tiny it could fit in the palm of your hand. Believe it or not, that's roughly how much uranium it took to cause such unimaginable destruction. Here's what happened. The bomb carried 50 kilograms of uranium, which acted as the explosive material. But this wasn't just any explosive. It was uranium-235, a special kind of uranium used in nuclear weapons. When the bomb was dropped, most people think all 50 kilograms were responsible for the explosion. But here's the surprising truth. Only about 1 to 2 kilograms actually caused the destruction. That's right. A piece of uranium small enough to fit in your hand had the power to vaporize an entire city. So why didn't the entire 50 kilograms get used? Here's where it gets interesting. In a nuclear explosion, uranium atoms split in a process called a chain reaction. When this happens, a tiny amount of uranium releases an enormous amount of energy. But here's the catch. The chain reaction is so powerful and so fast that it destroys everything nearby before the rest of the uranium can even start reacting. Essentially, the explosion shuts itself down before the entire 50 kilograms can be used. That means about 99% of the uranium in the bomb was wasted. Think about it this way. Imagine if you replaced the gunpowder in a small firecracker with just a pinch of uranium-235. That tiny amount would create an explosion so big it could destroy everything within 3 to 4 kilometers. That's how powerful uranium-235 is. Now, here's another surprising fact. Producing even a small amount of uranium-235 takes an incredible amount of time. It can take 5 to 6 years in a specialized factory to create just a tiny bit of this material. And no, you can't simply Google buy uranium-235 or order it online. It's one of the most tightly controlled and dangerous substances on Earth. So the next time you hear about the power of nuclear weapons, remember this. It only takes a tiny piece of uranium to create an explosion that can change the course of history. That's the incredible and terrifying reality of nuclear energy. Fact number 12. This is a fact that will make you say, how could such a big scientist do this? Nikola Tesla is considered one of the most intelligent people ever to walk this earth. Did you know he claimed he would live past 100, possibly even up to 150 years? Now, ordinary people didn't understand why he said that. Here's why. Most of his experiments were novel and groundbreaking. He spoke about vibrations, electricity, and concepts that people still use today. But during public demonstrations, Tesla would also say something intriguing, that humanity has yet to capture the true power of electricity. He believed it could be used in ways people didn't know about. And most importantly, he theorized that electricity could be therapeutic for the human body. He believed that somehow electricity could increase human lifespan. Tesla often spoke about such strange ideas, and it's not that just because someone says it, it's 100% true. However, some people believe that Tesla privately shocked himself with electricity in the hope that his theory would succeed, and he would become the longest living human ever. But that didn't happen. Eventually, Tesla passed away at the age of 86, disproving this theory. However, delving into his life reveals many interesting facts. Fact number 11. If we want to travel 1 billion kilometers in the universe, even at the speed of light, it would take millions of years. But a wormhole is a magical concept that can realistically and scientifically reduce this distance to just 3 to 4 months. Many people have been fascinated by this and have asked me to explain wormholes further. Here's a simple demonstration scientists often use. I have a normal A4 size paper and a pen. Now imagine one side of the paper represents Earth, and the other side represents the end of the Milky Way galaxy, millions of kilometers away. Even if we build a spaceship that travels at the highest speed possible, the speed of light, it would still take 100,000 years to reach the other side. Clearly, that's not practical. But according to Einstein, space can bend. Space is like fabric. So instead of traveling at the speed of light for 100,000 years, what if we could bend space itself? If we create a wormhole, we can make a shortcut. Here's how. If space folds and you create a hole between the 2 points, you can travel instantly. Wormholes bend the fabric of space, allowing us to bypass physical distance. This concept is magical yet realistic. It's also called the Einstein-Rosen bridge. Just like we recently captured a real image of a black hole, something science had never seen before, perhaps one day, scientists will either create or catch a wormhole in space. Fact number 10. This is one of the strangest coincidences in the world. Bitcoin, a cryptocurrency, was created by a person who never revealed their identity. Even after all these years, their identity has never been disclosed. The name associated with them was Satoshi Nakamoto. Now, this is believed to be their real name. But where this person is today, how they're living, whether they are hiding in a jungle, living a hermit's life, meditating on a mountain, or disguised as someone else with plastic surgery, is all unknown. All we know is that the founder of Bitcoin is known as Satoshi Nakamoto. Here's a very strange coincidence. If you take the names of certain technology companies and stack them together, like Samsung's Sa, Toshiba's Toshi, Nakamichi's Naka, and Motorola's Moto, you end up forming Satoshi Nakamoto. This seems like an extremely weird and fascinating coincidence. Comment below and let me know what you think about this. Fact number 9. If someone were to ask you what the biggest company in the history of the world is, the answer might surprise you. It's not a company like Apple or Microsoft, but one that once ruled India, the British Empire's Dutch East India Company. To give you an interesting perspective, imagine if a single company today dominated USA clothing industry so much that it held 10% of the market share. You'd think, wow, this company is massive. In some cases, a company might even hold 50% of a specific industry in a single country. That's impressive, right? But now imagine this. Could there be a company so powerful that it controlled half of the world's entire trade? It sounds impossible in today's time, doesn't it? But back in the 1720s, the Dutch East India Company reached its peak, and it actually controlled half of the global trade. To put it into numbers, its valuation at the time was around $8 trillion, an unimaginable figure for that era. For comparison, Apple, the most valuable company today, has only recently crossed a valuation of $3 trillion. This means the East India Company was worth nearly 3 times as much over 200 years ago. At its peak, the company was so influential that it had vast areas of the world under its control. A significant portion of the global map was essentially under the company's or Britain's rule. And yet, despite such dominance, the company eventually vanished completely, leaving behind nothing but history. Fascinating, isn't it? Fact number 8. Something truly shocking has happened this month. Subtract 130 from the current year. Between 1894 and 2024, not once has anything like this ever occurred. Japan's iconic Mount Fuji, perhaps the most famous mountain in the country, has always been blanketed in snow by the time November arrives. But here we are in November 2024, and shockingly, Mount Fuji is still snow-free. In 130 years of recorded history, this has never happened before. The mountain, usually a symbol of winter's beauty, now stands completely dry. And that's not all. Even as November rolls on, air conditioners are still running in homes, battling unseasonable warmth. It's impossible to see this and not wonder, is this what global warming truly looks like? This isn't just rare, it's unprecedented. Historical records and scientific articles confirm that for the first time in over a century, Mount Fuji remains barren of snow at this time of year. It's a stark and undeniable reminder of how rapidly our planet is changing. Fact number 7. Think about the computer you use daily, your desktop. How many wires are typically connected to it? If you count carefully, it might be around 20 to 30 wires, depending on the setup. But now, take a look at this picture from 1958, a computer from that era. This massive machine, incapable of running even GTA 5 at 1 FPS, had a staggering 15,000 wires. Yes, back in the 1950s and 60s, the average computer had around 15,000 individual connections. This specific model is an IBM computer, and assembling it was no easy task. Engineers had to physically piece it together, spending several days ensuring every wire was correctly installed. It's incredible to see how far technology has come, shrinking from massive wire-filled rooms to the sleek, compact devices we use today. Fact number 6. You are obviously breathing right now. So, place your fingers under your nose, and you might feel that one nostril is letting out more air than the other, and one is letting out less. Many people get worried and think, am I dying? Is one of my nostrils not working properly? But no, it's just a natural cycle of your body called the nasal cycle. What happens is that both nostrils are constantly taking in and releasing air 24 hours a day, even when you sleep. So, does your nose ever get irritated? From the moment you were born, your nostrils have been facing the air so they don't get chafed or damaged. The reason behind this is that one nostril works harder at one time, and the other gets a bit of rest. It's like a shift system. One nostril works during the day, and the other works at night. In simple terms, both nostrils alternate and give each other rest, which is why one nostril might seem more active than the other. This is the nasal cycle. Fact number 5. Look at this. This is a normal wind turbine, but the structure at its base might be something you've never seen before. Look at the base of the wind turbine. It has so much steel in it. A huge metal framework is built under a wind turbine. In large wind turbines, thousands of kilos, and in some cases, millions of kilos of metal are used. When the wind turbine spins, a huge amount of pressure is created. The base shakes under the pressure, and you can say that when the wind is at full force, thousands of kilos of force are applied to the base. And because a wind turbine's life is 20 to 30 years, it must last that long. The engineers say that's why they use so many kilos of metal in the framework. Fact number 4. This fact might interest you a lot. This is an ITR document from Australia, which went viral on Twitter some time ago. It shows where your tax money goes. Whether or not you pay direct taxes, you contribute to taxes whenever you buy something. For example, if you purchase a car worth $24,000, approximately $480 of that amount goes toward taxes. This is an example of indirect taxes, which are already included in the price of goods and services. So, it's just common sense that if so much tax is being paid, the government should show us an approximate breakdown of where the tax money is being used. We should be able to see this in our account, where exactly our tax money is going. In many countries, including Australia, if you've paid $1,200 in income tax by the end of the year, shouldn't we know where our $1,200 were used? Was it well spent or just disappeared? We should have some transparency, but right now, it's not being managed that way. However, as the public is becoming more aware of these things, I think this kind of transparency will come in the next few years. Fact number 3. I got this question on my Discord server. If you dress a newborn baby in clothes and never let them take it off, will the clothes rip like Hulks? It's an interesting question. When babies are around 10 days old, during the next 1 or 2 years, their body undergoes intense growth. Their body size can double or triple in just a few months. So, if you put clothes on them and never change them, will the clothes rip like Hulks? Of course, yes they will. The clothes will get tighter, and within 10 to 11 months, they'll tear. So, yes, babies grow so rapidly in terms of physical growth, and cell growth that their clothes wouldn't last long. By the way, if you're interested in these amazing facts like I am, you can join my Discord server. The link is in the description. Fact number 2. This is a very deep fact, and honestly, it's not a good one. You might find it strange, but earlier this year, a study was conducted in 38 countries involving nearly 400,000 scientists. The results of this study are shocking. Out of 100 scientists, 33 of them quit their careers within 5 years. And out of 150 scientists, half of them leave their careers after 10 years. Now, this is interesting to understand because when someone asks a child what they want to be when they grow up, they often say a doctor, engineer, or scientist. People get excited when a child says they want to be a doctor or engineer, but when someone says they want to be a scientist, people don't seem as interested. The reason behind this is important. Doctors and engineers get a lot of respect, but the career of a scientist is often undervalued. If a child says they want to be a scientist, people often think it's odd. They'll be doing experiments, but that's about it. However, in general, the respect for scientists is at par with that of doctors. So, why is the career of a scientist both good and bad? Let me explain. See, whatever job you do, at the end of the day, you need food on the table. You need money for survival. In the study, scientists mentioned that they want to research and publish their findings, but their livelihood should also be secure. They should earn enough money to live comfortably. Unfortunately, that's not always the case. Even if someone becomes a scientist, they often don't make as much money compared to other professions. Respect is one thing, but if you're unable to pay your bills during an emergency, then what good is respect? Money matters too. While scientists in developed countries also get low salaries, the situation is even worse in some countries. And that's why, out of 100 scientists, 33 quit within 5 years, and half leave within 10 years of their career. Fact number 1. Gold is often referred to as the god's currency, the ultimate store of value. Unlike other forms of currency, gold is not dependent on any government or institution. Its value has stood the test of time. 5,000 years ago, it was precious, and even 10,000 years from now, it will remain so. The reason? Gold is rare, durable, and universally coveted. Now, you might wonder, what about platinum, silver, or diamonds? They're rare too, right? And in some cases, like diamonds, their price is even 100 times higher than gold. So why is gold considered superior? Let's break it down. Diamonds. True, diamonds are valuable, but technology has changed the game. Lab-grown diamonds are now almost indistinguishable from natural ones and can be produced in abundance using carbon and intense pressure. As this technology improves, the rarity of natural diamonds diminishes, and with it, their perceived value. That's why the price of diamonds isn't skyrocketing like before. Silver. Silver is an incredible metal, but not perfect. Unlike gold, silver is prone to tarnishing, a reaction with sulfur compounds in the air that dulls its shine over time. While silver doesn't rust like iron, it's not as immortal as gold. Gold. Here's where gold shines, literally and figuratively. Gold doesn't rust, it doesn't tarnish, and it doesn't react with any element under normal conditions. The shine of gold that you see today will remain the same for thousands of years. That unparalleled durability and timeless appeal make gold the ultimate metal, unmatched in its value and aura. This is why gold continues to sit at the top, far above other rare elements. It's untouchable, unchanging, and truly worthy of its title as God's currency. That wraps up today's fascinating facts. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that bell icon for updates. See you in the next video. In this video, you'll discover facts that will completely shake you from the inside. From reaching the edge of the Milky Way galaxy through a wormhole, to the dark truth about penguin birds that you've never heard before, and Google facing a fine of $2.5 decillion, an amount even more than the total money on Earth. You'll learn all this and much more about different categories of fascinating random facts. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell icon if you haven't already. Fact number 14. In this universe, Earth's default setting is the darkness of night. But there's a torch that blankets this darkness, the sun. Yes, our sun. You might have heard this before. If this torch's battery were to die right now, let's say it gets destroyed, we wouldn't know about it for 8 minutes. During that time, the sun's firewood would already be burnt out, but Earth's inhabitants would still experience 8 minutes of artificial warmth from the sun. Essentially, humanity gets an 8-minute grace period. After those 8 minutes, darkness would return, reclaiming its rightful place in the skies. Here's why. It takes 8 minutes for light to travel from the sun to Earth. So even if the sun were to vanish, Earth would continue to appear normal for those 8 minutes. After that, we'd see the sun's destruction and be plunged into darkness. But what about gravity? If the sun collapses, what happens to the disruption in the fabric of space-time caused by such a massive event? Common sense might suggest that while light takes time to travel, the effects of gravity, like Earth's shift or the arrival of solar radiation, would be instant, right? Wrong. Here's the mind-bending truth to stick to your forehead like chewing gum. The speed of gravity is exactly equal to the speed of light. So, just like light, the gravitational effects of the sun's destruction would also take 8 minutes to reach Earth. No visual effects, no gravitational chaos. Everything would remain completely normal during those 8 minutes. After that, Earth would feel its first tremors of the apocalypse. A merciless radioactive storm would crash onto the planet. Earth would then become like a kite with its string cut, floating aimlessly in space. Like a leaf adrift in water, its future path would be entirely unpredictable. The sun essentially keeps Earth disciplined, like a stern guardian. Forget the rest of the scenario if you want. But the main myth to clear here is that gravity's effects are instantaneous in space. This is as false as election promises made just before polling day. The truth is, the speed of gravity equals the speed of light. Fact number 13. Just like children sometimes have accidents at night and wet the bed, can adults, individuals over 18 years old, also cause waves on the bed at night? Is it possible for an adult to wake up feeling like they've been in the middle of an ocean? I mean, is this medically possible? The answer is yes. Although it's very rare, it does happen. It's called nocturnal enuresis, and it affects less than 0.1% of the population. Even at 0.1%, that still accounts for millions of faces. So yes, adults can also cause tsunamis on their beds at night. Fact number 12. Imagine, overnight, all the females in the world disappear. The sun rises as usual, but its light falls on a new world, one without any females. Suddenly, the realization hits everyone. What just happened? Humanity's population will drop to 0. Out of the 8.5 billion people on Earth, approximately 3.8 billion are females, and the torch of life truly rests in their hands. Females are essential because there hasn't been, and likely never will be, any invention capable of creating life without them. No invention has captured the miracle that takes place within a woman's womb, the creation of new life. It's a song only the body of a woman can sing. Now, all the men are left staring at a future for which no one has a solution. In this scenario, no baby would take its first breath on Earth again. What happens next? Let's jump ahead 10 years. By then, the last of the young children are now 10 years old, playing in the playground, blissfully unaware of the invisible mark they carry, Earth's last generation. The Earth hears the voices of children for the final time. 100 years after the day women disappeared, life still exists on Earth, but everyone is old, almost entirely men. Deep down, everyone knows that humanity's final chapter is being read. Fast forward 130 years, and now, everyone left is over the age of 85. Within the next 10 to 15 years, Earth's population reaches 0. At this point, only memories of humans remain in the air. The forests extend their green arms, reclaiming the land left behind by humans. Each day, the wilderness engulfs new territories. The green oceans of jungles cover every corner of the earth. Rivers grow stronger, and every kind of animal roams the planet freely without the shadow of humans. The entire world transforms into a vast wildlife sanctuary. So yes, the fact remains, without women, this world could only last 100 to 120 years. Fact number 11. This is a fascinating psychological fact. Tell me, how big is your squad? How many friends do you have? 10, 20, 30, 40, or even 50? Everyone's number will differ. But before diving into the numbers, here's something interesting. Your relationship with every individual is as unique as a fingerprint. For instance, the bond you share with your mother is unique, unlike any other. Similarly, that mischievous friend who adds spice to every conversation has a different relationship with you. And then there's your sibling. Again, a distinct connection. So the question arises, how many fingerprints or relationships can coexist in your life? According to science, the limit lies in a part of the brain called the neocortex. Studies have shown that humans can handle a maximum of 150 meaningful relationships. Beyond this, the system starts to overflow, like water spilling out of a 150-liter container or a camera losing focus beyond 150 feet. Essentially, your mind and body can't manage more. So, while you may have thousands of online friends, only around 150 will leave a meaningful impact on your life. This phenomenon is known as the Dunbar number. Fact number 10. Nuclear energy is often seen as a green source of electricity because it doesn't produce the smoky clouds that traditional methods of power generation do. When nuclear plants generate electricity, they don't leave behind the pollution that can darken the planet's future. However, while they don't add visible pollution to the environment, they create something even more dangerous: nuclear waste. This waste is often stored in drums that look completely harmless. These drums don't glow, they don't look menacing, and they don't scream danger. But inside, there's silent danger waiting to strike. The nuclear waste sitting inside those drums is the literal embodiment of danger. Its radiation can poison the body in a matter of hours. Spend more than 2 hours around it, and your body cells could start dying, potentially leading to life-threatening illness. The toxins contained within nuclear waste will remain deadly for generations to come, long after we're gone. Even as the world evolves and cities change, this nuclear waste will continue to be a challenge, refusing to degrade. Its deadly presence will remain as powerful as ever, potentially becoming an even bigger problem in the future if not properly managed. Scientists are already considering how to handle this issue. If nuclear waste is not handled carefully, it could become a catastrophic problem, much like a storm in the middle of the ocean. Currently, only 10% of the world's total electricity comes from nuclear power. As of now, there's no perfect solution for storing or managing nuclear waste, and this problem could intensify in the future. The potential danger remains unless something changes, either by mastering nuclear fusion, which produces no waste, or by finding a better way to dispose of nuclear waste safely. The future of energy and the planet might depend on how we deal with these deadly drums. Fact number 9. When you hear the word penguin, what comes to your mind? Probably tiny cute creatures running around Antarctica, but the reality will leave you shocked. Penguins, as we know them, are not the real penguins. In fact, the penguins we know today are a different species. The original penguins, scientifically named Pinguinus impennis, went extinct in the mid-19th century due to human actions. These flightless birds were quite unique and larger in size. Human activities, especially hunting and environmental changes, drove them to extinction forever. When scientists explored colder regions, they found birds similar to the original penguins, flightless, with thick feathers. Observing the resemblance in size and lifestyle, they gave them the same name, penguin. And this is where the Great Deception began. Today, the entire world refers to these new flightless birds as penguins, believing them to be the real deal. The real penguins were replaced by these newer ones, and they became part of our textbooks, documentaries, and movies. But the truth is, the unique species of original penguins has long been buried in history. Did you know this? Let us know in the comments. And if you found this fact interesting, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel, because here you'll find facts that will shake your perspective. Fact number 8. Many people invest their hard-earned money in land, property, and other assets. But here's a terrifying question. What if a government collapses entirely? Sounds impossible, right? But it has happened before, even in recent history. Imagine you earn $1 million in your lifetime. You buy land, a house, and invest in fixed deposits or gold. Now, what if the government decides to nationalize everything? Your land, your house, even your investments? Does such a thing happen? The answer is yes, and history has some chilling examples. One of the most notable cases is Russia's Bolshevik Revolution in 1917 to 1920. During this time, people's cash savings became worthless overnight. The government introduced a new currency, invalidating old coins. But the worst came later. By 1922, the government nationalized all land, leaving people helpless. Lifetimes of hard work and savings were rendered meaningless in an instant. Even though we live in a digital age where money is stored in banks and demat accounts, the possibility of extreme measures by governments is not zero. Past events show that cash, property, and even investments can lose their value. This brings us to gold, often called God's currency. Why? Because unlike land or cash, gold cannot be devalued or nationalized easily. Gold is rare, created in stars, not on Earth, which gives it its universal value. Governments can seize land or make money worthless, but physical gold remains untouchable. The takeaway: consider keeping some gold as part of your wealth. However, for safety, avoid keeping it at home where theft is a risk. Instead, store it securely in a bank locker. Fact number 7. What I'm about to tell you will sound unbelievable, but it's true. It's about one of the biggest companies in the world, the one whose platform you probably use every day, Google. Imagine this. Even if a fine of $2 trillion was imposed on Google, the company could still pay it without much trouble. But here's the catch. In October 2024, a court ordered Google to pay a staggering fine of $2.5 decillion. Now, what is a decillion? It's 10 to the power of 33, an unimaginably large number. To put it in perspective, if you combined all the money in the world, it wouldn't even equal 0.01% of this fine. This raises a logical question. Why would a court impose such a massive fine? The reason lies in the technical nature of the legal system. Just as courts sometimes sentence people to 800 years in prison, knowing no one can live that long, this fine is more symbolic than practical. It stems from technical calculations and is a way to highlight the gravity of the case. This $2.5 decillion fine has become one of the largest fines ever recorded in monetary terms, if not the largest. This fascinating case took place in October 2024 and has sparked widespread discussion. Fact number 6. This is our Milky Way galaxy. Now, some of the ultra-curious minds among you might ask, alright, but is it possible for humans to capture an actual photo of the Milky Way from space? The reality is that this won't be possible for the next 500,000 years. Why? Even if we were to build a spacecraft capable of traveling at the speed of light, which is 300,000 kilometers per second, it would still take 500,000 years to reach the position necessary to capture a complete image of the Milky Way. Scientists have calculated that the ideal position to take such a picture lies 500,000 light years away from Earth. So yes, for the next 500,000 years, capturing a complete photo of the Milky Way is impossible, at least through traditional methods. However, there's one exception: wormholes. These are hypothetical shortcuts in space-time that could theoretically allow us to travel vast distances instantly. If we could harness wormholes, we could reach the required position within a year and take the photo. The problem is, science hasn't yet figured out how to create or use wormholes. So, for now, the effort it would take to build a spaceship that travels at light speed might as well be invested in studying wormholes, as they could be the ultimate solution. Until then, the dream of capturing a complete photo of the Milky Way remains just that, a dream. Fact number 5. Imagine this. When darkness falls and a blanket of night covers the earth, you step out, jump onto the roof, turn on your flashlight, and aim it at the moon. The question is, does that beam of light actually reach the moon's surface? Well, the reality is that while you might feel your flashlight is shining brightly and confidently, the truth is, after traveling a certain distance, the light begins to fade. This is a misconception many people have, but mathematics reveals a deeper truth. After all the calculations, science tells us that in the time it takes for you to take a breath, approximately 1.2 seconds, a photon, light particle, from your flashlight travels all the way to the moon, 384,000 kilometers away. To put it in perspective for the math lovers out there, if 200,000 photons start the journey, only one actually reaches the moon's surface. This means that just 0.0005% of the light emitted by your flashlight will reach the moon. It's a fascinating glimpse into how light works over such vast distances. Fact number 4. Voldemort, the infamous villain from the Harry Potter series, still sends shivers down the spines of fans. But the version of Voldemort you see on screen is just a tiny drop in the ocean of what the creators originally envisioned. The filmmakers had initially designed a much scarier version of Voldemort for the movie, with heavy, exaggerated features. However, this was changed after a psychologist gave the director a report warning that this version of the character could be too terrifying for children. If the costume had stayed the same, the fear instilled in young viewers could have grown into deep trauma, haunting them for years. Children, especially those with vivid imaginations, would have had difficulty processing such a horrific face. In fact, if you whisper something silly into their ears, their imagination can create a whole universe of thoughts. The original version of Voldemort's face would have been too much for them to handle, so the decision was made to soften the character, removing the sharp teeth and making him look more normal. This way, instead of being a nightmare, he remained a thrilling but manageable villain. The filmmakers carefully balanced the line between thrilling fear and real horror, ensuring the movie stayed fun for kids without crossing into genuine terror. Fact number 3. Imagine standing in the middle of an open field with nothing around you for miles. No walls, no buildings, no structures made by humans for over 10 kilometers. It's just pure openness, like the earth itself is breathing freely in all directions. Now, you take a deep breath and shout as loudly as you can, using every ounce of energy in your body. You let out all the air in your chest, pushing your vocal cords to their limit. But have you ever wondered how far your voice can travel in such a wide open space? The answer is around 3 kilometers. In a place like this, where the earth and the sky are in perfect harmony, your shout can travel quite far. However, in urban areas surrounded by buildings, your voice won't go nearly as far. The concrete jungle will swallow up the sound, almost like a shark devouring its prey. In such settings, even a shout won't travel more than 300 meters before it's absorbed by the walls and buildings. Fact number 2. Mobile signals, Wi-Fi signals, things most of us can't even see, can feel like a storm to a small group of people who experience electromagnetic hypersensitivity. For these individuals, being around electronic gadgets feels like something is tearing through their bones. Digital signals like Wi-Fi or mobile tower signals create an invisible sea that covers entire cities, and most of us are swimming safely in it every day without noticing. But for some people, these signals turn into real waves of discomfort. When they stand near a mobile phone receiving an incoming call, it feels like their ears are being pierced by a siren. Wi-Fi feels like a thick fog surrounding them, creating a brain fog that makes them feel suffocated, as if they're trapped in their own mind. Officially, scientists have found no evidence that electronic gadgets can physically affect the brain or body in such ways. Their theory is that the sensations these people feel are psychological, much like how, for some, achieving top marks in class may feel impossible. However, the World Health Organization recognizes the condition, acknowledging that the pain these individuals experience is real. Despite the lack of scientific explanation, the condition still carries the name electromagnetic hypersensitivity. Fact number 1. Ever wondered how scientists measure the weight of distant planets and stars, which reside light years away? Do they have some cosmic weighing machine aimed at the Andromeda Galaxy? Not quite. The answer lies in gravity, which we observe using telescopes. Here's how it works. If a planet is orbiting a star, scientists analyze the planet's speed and its size relative to the star. Using this information, along with Newton's formula for gravitational force, thank you, Newton's apple, they estimate the mass of the star or planet. For instance, if a planet's speed and orbit indicate it's being pulled by a large star, the mass of the star can be calculated. Similarly, the size and movement of the planet help in determining its own mass. Keep in mind, these measurements aren't exact. They're highly educated estimates. So whether it's a planet weighing 500 billion trillion quadrillion kilograms or just a few million, it's all thanks to the principles of gravity that we can even guess. That wraps up today's facts. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and comment below to share your thoughts. And hey, if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that button and turn on the bell icon so you don't miss future uploads. Got an interesting question? Drop it in the comments. I might just feature it in the next video. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Did you know a person earned $180 million just from investing $120? Yes, this quirky tale actually happened, and it's one you definitely need to hear. And have you ever wondered what a googolplex is? But wait, there's more. I'm about to share with you a mind-blowing recording that will leave you completely stunned. This one will make you question everything. Stick around, because these fascinating facts will make you hooked. Fact number 14. Here, we talk about a deep scientific fact about perspective. Many people have this question in their minds. Listen to the question. Suppose you are standing on a road, and you can see up to 1 kilometer because the road is completely straight. So you understand how far that 1 kilometer is for you, right? But if an ant is walking on the road, then from its perspective, how many kilometers will that road be according to its size? So the answer is 200. Multiply it by 200. For you, what is 1 kilometer will be 200 kilometers for the ant. That means ants would think, oh no, to go to another city, it's 200 kilometers away. And now, let's take a bigger animal, like a dinosaur. So, for dinosaurs, who were the biggest of the big, 1 kilometer would feel like half a kilometer according to their perspective. Fact number 13. This is a deep scientific fact. You must have heard many YouTubers saying this and showing an image that there's hidden water, an ocean beneath the earth. So, what exactly is this? The story is like this. When scientists studied the history of Earth's formation, they discovered something through calculations, mathematics, and physics. They found that the amount of water on Earth is not just limited to the oceans. Considering Earth's size and atmosphere, there should be more water here. That's when it was revealed that there's an 80% or more chance that the water beneath Earth's surface is 4 to 5 times more than the water in the oceans. This water exists in a place that we cannot access properly because we haven't drilled deeper than 12 kilometers. It is a state of water beneath the crust, and its official scientific name is ringwoodite. It's a semi-liquid substance, you could say, that contains a significant amount of water. And as I mentioned, there's more water in this state of matter beneath the earth than in the oceans. Once again, the name of this state is ringwoodite. Fact number 12. The fact I'm about to tell you is beyond the universe, so calm your mind and listen carefully to what comes next. This might be one of the best facts on this channel. It's a very deep fact, so try to understand it thoroughly. You might have heard of Google to the power of 100. Write 1, followed by 100 zeros. This number is called Google. Now, don't start saying wow, wow, wow yet. Let's go deeper. Google to the power of 100? That's still not enough. Now comes googolplex, which means 10 to the power of Google. To break it down, Google means 10 to the power of 100, but googolplex, it's 10 to the power of that entire Google number. If I told you to write googolplex on paper, you'd start writing 1 followed by Google zeros. But here's the kicker. Even if you started writing that number right now and kept going until the end of the universe, you wouldn't be able to finish writing all the zeros. Now consider this. If you count all the atoms in the universe, trillions and trillions, they wouldn't even compare to the second digit of a googolplex number. This number is so astronomically massive that it goes beyond anything in the universe. Here's another way to grasp it. Imagine filling the entire universe with tiny dust particles, completely packed. Now think of all the possible arrangements for those particles. If one arrangement is ABC and another is BAC, then how many arrangements would there be? The answer to this is googolplex. The total possible number of arrangements of dust particles in the universe is represented by this insane number. Now, even if you don't fully understand this, it's fine. Just remember that Google to the power of googolplex is beyond the universe itself. Fact number 11. You've probably used an ATM before, right? Here's a question. What software do ATMs use? Is it developed by Microsoft, or does the ATM company create its own software? Well, all those assumptions are wrong. You won't believe this, but 89% of the ATMs worldwide actually run on Windows. Yes, the same Windows operating system you might have used in your school computer lab. This is a little-known fact, but it's true. If you tell someone that ATMs use Windows software, they might be shocked or say, "Really?" But it's a fact. If you're curious, you can even find a reference to this on the Wikipedia page for ATMs. Fact number 10. Here's a fact about your habits. Every time you use your phone and your finger touches the screen, like when you scroll, that counts as a single touch. Now, if you add up all those touches in a single day, the average user who spends 6 to 7 hours on their phone ends up touching their screen around 25,000 times. And then there are the legends in the comments who will say, "Meanwhile, I use my phone for 18 hours a day." For them, the number would easily surpass 56,000 touches. But here's the fascinating part. Every time you touch the screen, your body's electrical current enables the phone to register the touch and respond. This is also why, if you try to swipe using the finger of a dead body, it wouldn't work, because there's no electrical activity left. Essentially, every interaction between your finger and the screen involves tiny electrical signals at the most basic level. Cool, right? Fact number 9. In your phone, TV, or any digital screen, what you see is the magic of pixels. These are tiny dots that come together to form an image, video, or text. Now, when you're looking at the screen, it's not physically there. It's just a dance of pixels that has taken my form, which is why it seems like I'm in front of you. A deep fact here is that many people don't know the full meaning of pixels. If I were to ask you a general question like, what does the full form of pixel mean? The answer is picture element. You might think pixel and picture element don't match, but here's the explanation. Picture is shortened to pix, and element is shortened to L. So, pixel stands for picture element. Just like our universe is made up of basic building blocks, elements from the periodic table, an image is made up of basic building blocks, which are the pixels. Fact number 8. Some things are just super amazing, while others are truly on an extraordinary level, and this is one of them. Today, I'm going to share with you the first sound ever recorded on Earth. Think about how easy it is to record your voice today. Just pick up your phone, press record, and done. But before the year 1860, this wasn't even possible. In that year, the very first voice recording was made. This groundbreaking achievement was done by Edward Léon Scott de Martinville, the inventor of the phonautograph. Here's the fascinating part. The voice you're about to hear is over 160 years old. So brace yourself to experience a piece of history. What you just heard was the sound of a voice captured more than a century and a half ago. It's both incredible and a little spooky, isn't it? This was the first ever sound on Earth to be captured by any device. If this blew your mind, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon to make sure you never miss a video. And don't forget to like this video to show your support for amazing discoveries like this. Fact number 7. There are many large-scale things that people believe haven't evolved much, and one example of this is the movie theater. People often think that a cinema hall is just the same. There's always a screen, seats, and a movie playing. Sure, we have 3D and 4DX, where the chairs move and things like that, but those have been around for years. What's new, right? Well, let me tell you about a recent innovation that's happening in real time. It's called digital smell technology. Imagine you're sitting in a cinema hall watching a movie, and there's a scene where a sewer or a trash heap is shown. Guess what? As that scene is playing, you will actually smell the sewer. Yes, the actual odor will be emitted into the air. This is digital smell technology, and you'd be surprised to know that millions of dollars are being invested in this to make it possible. Now, you might wonder how this works. How can a smell that's not physically present in the cinema hall be created out of thin air? It's similar to how a printer works. A printer has different colored inks, and it can mix those inks to create any color. Similarly, the digital smell device will have a set of chemical compounds that, when mixed, can release the appropriate scent for any given scene in the movie. It will be perfectly timed to match the scene, just like how colors are blended to create the right one on a printer. Fact number 6. You must have heard about Bitcoin, how people bought it at a low price and now it's worth so much. Here's something interesting about Bitcoin. When you make a transaction in your bank, it's recorded there, right? And it stays private, no one else can see it. But with Bitcoin, every single transaction is public. Let me tell you about a transaction that will blow your mind. Here's a transaction that's being discussed, and you can check the complete transaction ID. This transaction shows that years ago, when Bitcoin was worth just $0.06, someone bought 2,000 Bitcoin for only $120. At that time, the price of one Bitcoin was very low. Now, you know how much a single Bitcoin is worth today. That person sold those 2,000 Bitcoin for a whopping $180 million. That's 180 million USD. Not just $1 million or $10 million, but $180 million. This is just unbelievable. Imagine having that much patience to hold on to your Bitcoin for all those years, only to sell it for an astronomical amount. The crazy thing is, you cannot find out who the owner was based on the transaction, because while Bitcoin transactions are public, the identity of the person remains hidden. This shows the power of patience, holding something like Bitcoin for years and then selling it for a massive return. Selling $120 worth of Bitcoin for around $180 million is insane. But this doesn't mean you should just go and invest in Bitcoin now. One Bitcoin currently costs around $95,000. It's not guaranteed that the value will keep increasing like before. The value you see today may not keep growing the same way, so think carefully before investing. This is just an actual past transaction, and the holding period was incredibly long. Fact number 5. It's a well-known fact that the United States was the first country to land on the moon. But if I ask you, was going to the moon really a groundbreaking achievement? The answers might vary. Out of 100 people, perhaps 50 might say it was a huge milestone, while the other 50 might question its impact, wondering, how does going to the moon change anything? Does it bring money into our homes? What benefit did it bring to the country? To address this divide, a major survey was conducted in the United States, where citizens were asked whether they supported the enormous expenditure, billions of dollars, on the moon landing. The results revealed that 53% of the respondents approved, agreeing it was a worthwhile achievement. However, nearly 47% of Americans, almost half, felt it wasn't as significant and questioned its importance. What do you think about this? The general sentiment within the US itself was clearly divided. Fact number 4. Every country has its soldiers, millions of them. For example, the American Army has hundreds of thousands of personnel. But have you ever wondered if there's ever been a war where one side's entire army was completely wiped out? In modern times, over the last 100-200 years, this has never happened. Even in the bloodiest battles, armies always manage to retain at least a few thousand or even tens of thousands of soldiers. These survivors regroup and eventually rebuild their forces. However, history does record some rare instances of entire armies being completely annihilated, and these date back to ancient times, in the BCE-CE eras. For example, The Roman Republic versus Carthage. In one of their wars, the Roman Republic emerged victorious, and Carthage's army was entirely wiped out. The Battle of Agincourt, 1415. This medieval battle during the 100 Years' War saw England's forces decimate the French army almost completely. Such complete elimination of armies was more common in ancient times, when wars were brutal and decisive. However, in modern warfare, this doesn't happen anymore due to larger, organized militaries and different strategies. Fact number 3. Throwing a playing card to cut someone's throat sounds like something straight out of a movie, right? But the big question is, can it really happen in real life? Let's break it down with physics and math. The best magicians in the world can throw a card at a top speed of around 112 to 128 kilometers per hour. That's seriously fast for a piece of paper. Jackpot. But here's the deal. Is that fast enough to cut through human skin, let alone a throat? The answer is no. Scientifically, a card would need to be thrown at an insane speed of approximately 700 kilometers per hour to generate the kind of force required to actually cut. That's almost 7 times faster than the best human throw. In short, while it looks cool in movies, real life says, sorry, not happening. Physics wins again. Fact number 2. You're probably familiar with the concept of intoxication. Many people indulge in it because it releases feel-good chemicals in the brain, creating a sense of euphoria. But did you know that it's not just humans who get high? Dolphins do it too. Dolphins use a unique method to experience a high, and it involves a fish called the pufferfish. When a pufferfish feels threatened or stressed, its body releases a defensive chemical. This is similar to how humans sweat under stress. Dolphins intentionally provoke pufferfish to release this chemical. When they do, the dolphins inhale it and get high from the effects. They've been observed doing this repeatedly, seemingly enjoying the altered state it creates. It might sound strange, but it's true. Dolphins have their own way of getting high. Fact number 1. If you drop something from space past Earth's outermost atmospheric layers, it's bound to break. Earth doesn't have any material that could survive such an impact without shattering. But here's an interesting question. What about diamonds, the hardest substance on Earth? Will they break too? Let's imagine a diamond roughly the size of your palm, weighing about 1 kilogram or more, being dropped from space. What happens? The answer is yes, it will shatter upon impact. While it's true that air resistance will slow it down, stabilizing its speed as it falls, the force at impact will still be so immense that even the hardest diamond can't survive it. Now, if the diamond is much smaller, say less than 1 kilogram, the story changes. A lighter diamond would experience more deceleration due to air resistance and fall more gently. This is why, even if it hits the ground, it might stay intact. Here's a fun analogy. If you drop an ant from a height, it doesn't shatter into pieces. It floats down gently due to its light weight, almost like it has a natural parachute. Similarly, smaller objects, like a tiny diamond, can withstand a fall. So, the rule is simple. Diamonds heavier than 1 kilogram? Shattered. Lighter diamonds? They might survive. And that's today's fascinating fact. Let me know in the comments what you think about this video, and I'll see you guys in next video with more amazing insights. A world of fascinating and mind-bending facts that will not only amaze you, but also expand the balance of knowledge in your mind. These aren't just your everyday facts. They're the kind that challenge what you think you know and leave you wanting more. So, buckle up and prepare to be blown away as we take you on a journey through some of the most intriguing and mysterious corners of knowledge. Fact number 12. You've probably heard the term supermoon on TV or in the news, where they say that tonight the moon isn't just normal, it's a supermoon. But what exactly does that mean? Let's break it down. The moon sometimes appears small, and sometimes it's full and bright. This happens because of new moon and full moon phases, which are common lunar cycles. Some people think a supermoon happens on every full moon, but that's not the case. Here's the science. The moon orbits Earth in an elliptical path, not a perfect circle. That means sometimes the moon is closer to Earth and sometimes it's farther away. A supermoon occurs when this close position coincides with a full moon. This combination is rare and special. During a supermoon, the moon appears 14% larger than usual. Its brightness increases by 30%. So, a supermoon isn't just a full moon. It's a full moon that happens when the moon is closest to Earth in its elliptical orbit, making it look brighter and bigger than usual. Fascinating, isn't it? Fact number 11. In the year 1936, something happened that you might find hard to believe. During the Berlin Summer Olympics, Adolf Hitler was seated, signing autographs for people. Amidst this, a middle-aged woman approached him. She took his autograph, but then unexpectedly grabbed his face and kissed him. At the moment, Hitler didn't react aggressively. He simply smiled and continued with the event. However, internally, he was reportedly furious. Once the event was over, Hitler took drastic action. He fired over 70 members of his security team, blaming them for allowing such an incident to happen. Hitler took to maintain his authority and image. Considering his reputation, this unexpected event certainly didn't fit his idea of how the most powerful man should be treated. Fact number 10. In the year 2015, the Australian city of Naro became one of the most alcohol-addicted places in the world. The consumption there had increased so much that the government decided something big had to be done. A new system was introduced where random alcohol breath tests would be conducted on all vehicles passing by. The alcohol problem was so severe that a system was put in place where random drivers in cars would be tested. And if it was found that they hadn't consumed alcohol, their name would be written in a lucky draw. Out of all the names in that draw, one person would win $1,000 every day. After this, an impact was observed, and people started drinking less. Fact number 9. If you place your hand under normal light, a shadow of your hand will form. However, in the areas where doctors perform surgeries, if a shadow were to appear, it would create a problem. Light is, of course, essential, but during surgery, the shadow caused by the hands would disturb the doctors. Surprisingly, this doesn't happen. Amazingly, when you place your hand under surgical lights, no shadow forms at all. Surgical lights consist of multiple lights arranged in such a way that they cancel out each other's shadows. Their arrangement is uniquely designed. That's incredible. Fact number 8. Did you know there's a fascinating word scientists have coined which both exists and doesn't exist at the same time? Let's break it down. The Earth revolves around the sun. The moon revolves around the Earth. So who or what revolves around the moon? Here's where it gets interesting. If a moon-like body were to have its own satellite, it would be called a moon-moon. Yes, you heard that right, a moon-moon. This term applies to any moon in the solar system that might acquire its own smaller moon. Whether it's Earth's moon, Mars' Phobos and Deimos, Saturn's countless moons, or Jupiter's many satellites, if any of them had their own moon, it would qualify as a moon-moon. The amazing twist? No moon-moon has been discovered in our solar system. Not one. However, in the vast expanse of the universe, it's entirely possible that a moon of a moon exists somewhere out there. While the term moon-moon remains unused in our solar system, its possibility beyond is an exciting thought that captures the imagination. Fact number 7. Did you know that there's no permanent cure for the common cold? Many of you might wonder why. Let me break it down. The common cold is caused by viruses, not bacteria. When bacteria attack your body, they stay outside your cells, causing trouble. Antibiotics can kill these bacteria without harming your cells, and you recover. But viruses, they are much smarter and trickier. Instead of lingering outside, they invade your cells and use the cell's energy to multiply, essentially hiding within them. Now, here's the catch. If medicine were to target the virus, it would also destroy the infected cell. This makes finding a cure for viruses incredibly challenging. Scientists have yet to develop technology that can remove viruses from inside cells without harming the cells themselves. Take HIV, for instance. It doesn't just hide inside cells. It integrates itself into your genetic material, your DNA. Once embedded, it becomes nearly impossible to detect, making HIV one of the most dangerous viruses. While treatments exist to manage it and prolong life, there's still no cure that can completely eradicate it. As for the common cold, it gets even trickier. The viruses causing it mutate constantly. By the time medicine targets one version, a new version, like 2.0 or 3.0, emerges. So what's the solution? Your immune system. It's the ultimate defense, recognizing the infected cells and eliminating the virus from within. Medicines can help alleviate symptoms and slow down the virus's spread, but the real hero is a strong immune system. That's why staying healthy and boosting your immunity is the best defense against these tiny invaders. If you found this explanation fascinating, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss updates. Fact number 6. This is a deep and mysterious fact. There's a condition called nobility, and it affects those who have won the Nobel Prize. At first, this might seem strange to you. After all, the Nobel Prize is awarded to the most intelligent minds, so how could such a condition affect them? But it's true. Throughout history, around 992 individuals have received the Nobel Prize, and among them, about 10 to 20 have developed a unique mental condition where they start seeing themselves as the main character of the world. They begin to believe that no one is more intelligent than them. This mindset leads them to make statements that sound like they're coming from a mental patient. For instance, chemist Kary Mullis, who won the Nobel Prize in chemistry, used to say that a raccoon, a common animal in the Americas, frequently kidnapped him. Some Nobel Prize winners have claimed that aliens visit them to take their knowledge. Such bizarre claims stem from a state where an individual, overwhelmed by their achievements and success, starts to lose touch with reality. This condition, where people begin to behave irrationally or make absurd claims due to an inflated sense of self, is referred to as nobility. Fact number 5. There is an official list of the longest living people, meaning a verified list of individuals whose lifespans have been confirmed by the government. For example, people who have actually lived to be 130 or 120 years old. However, if you look at the top 50 on this list, you'll notice there are no men, only women. Now, why is that? It may sound strange, but biologically speaking, the hormones in females tend to support their cardiovascular health, meaning their heart health. On the other hand, men have a different hormonal setup that may not offer the same protection. Another reason for this could be found in history. Men were the ones fighting wars, and in those times, the world wasn't as organized. Wars were fought almost every other day, and that could have contributed to the shorter lifespans of men. This doesn't mean I'm saying that women are better or anything like that, or that men are less capable. I just want you to understand this interesting fact. Fact number 4. Here's an amazing fact for you. Imagine if one day we both went to the moon. When you get there, you'd notice a lot of incredible things, and most of them might not surprise you. After all, you're standing on the moon, right? But there's one thing that will surely shock you. First, let me tell you that the entire sky will look pitch black, completely dark. You'll finally understand what a true black night is, because on Earth, when you go outside at night, you see stars in the sky. But on the moon, there's no atmosphere, no air. You're standing on the surface, and right from there, space begins, and it's pure, pitch black space. Now, another fascinating thing. We always see the moon from Earth, and it looks huge when it's full, right? But if you were standing on the moon and looked up at Earth, you'd be shocked to see Earth appearing 13 times bigger than the moon looks from here. Yes, 13 times bigger. It's not just a fantasy as shown in movies where the moon looks enormous. If you're on the moon, Earth will look huge in the sky. And here's a math twist. The diameter of Earth is 4 times bigger than the moon's. So naturally, Earth should look 4 times bigger from the moon, right? But it looks 13 times bigger. This is because when the diameter of a sphere increases, its surface area increases much more rapidly. If you're into math, you can see the full calculation on your screen. But there's a catch when it comes to photographs. If you've ever seen a photo of Earth from the moon, it might look small, right? That's because the camera's focal length can make things look much smaller. It's like when you look at the moon with your naked eye at night, and it seems big, but when you take a picture with your phone, it looks tiny and lacks detail. So, Although the Earth appears huge to your eyes, the photo won't capture it as you see it with your own eyes. Fact number 3. Here's an interesting question. What would happen if you gave a snake its own venom? Would it survive or die? The venom that snakes produce is toxic, but it's designed to affect their prey, not themselves. So if you extracted the venom from a snake and then gave it back to the snake by placing it in its own mouth, it wouldn't harm the snake. It would be fine because its body is already accustomed to handling its own venom. Now, let's take it a step further. What if you loaded the snake's venom into a syringe and injected it into its bloodstream? The answer is still no. It wouldn't harm the snake. The venom is harmful when injected into the bloodstream of another animal, but not when it enters a snake's body because it's built to handle it. However, here's the twist. If you take venom from one species of snake and inject it into another species, it could potentially kill the second snake. That's because different species of snakes have different immune systems, and venom that is harmless to one species can be lethal to another. So, a venom from one snake could be fatal if injected into a snake of a different species. Fact number 2. This is a dark and tragic fact about boxing that you might not know. Boxing matches around the world are now fought over 12 rounds, but it wasn't always this way. Matches used to have 15 rounds, and the reason for the change is tied to a tragic incident. The story involves two boxers, Ray Mancini and Kim Duk-koo. They had a match, and when the fight ended, it became clear that Kim Duk-koo had suffered severe injuries. Unfortunately, he passed away from these injuries. After this tragic loss, Ray Mancini, who was the opponent in the match, quit boxing. However, the darkness of this event didn't end there. Kim Duk-koo's mother, devastated by the loss of her son, took her own life by ingesting pesticides. And it didn't stop there. The referee who had officiated the match also took his own life. This match became known as one of the darkest in boxing history, and it led to a major rule change in the sport. The decision was made to reduce the number of rounds from 15 to 12 to minimize the risk of such catastrophic injuries. This heartbreaking incident shed light on the dangers of the sport, and it was a wake-up call for everyone involved. It's a tragic reminder of how high the stakes can be in boxing. Fact number 1. Here's an amazing concept about space. Did you know that there's no air in space? But what if we inflate a balloon, seal it, and then release the air in space? Technically, the air would go into the emptiness of space. So, what happens? The answer is yes. If you do this, you've technically just added Earth's air to space, and that air molecule would exist in space forever. As soon as you release it, it would start spreading. There wouldn't be any noticeable effect. It's not like the entire space will turn into a garden, but yes, the air you take from Earth would continue to travel around space permanently, and it would always be there in space. So, these were today's interesting facts. Drop a comment and let me know how you found this video. Don't forget to subscribe and keep the all option always on. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Oh my god, you'll definitely say this, because in this video, you'll learn so many amazing facts that you won't be able to believe, no matter how hard you try. I am the Useless Guy, and I welcome you to the world of amazing facts on The Useless Show. Fact number 11. Age-restricted videos on YouTube are designed to ensure that only viewers aged 18 and above can access content deemed unsuitable for younger audiences. You already know about age-restricted videos. So, have you heard about age-restricted games? Have you heard about age-restricted websites? Go on, you must have also heard about age-restricted places. But have you ever seen an entire city like that? An entire city that is age-restricted where no one below the age of 18 can enter? So, this might sound weird to you, but this imagination was actually made real. In America's Arizona, there is a place called Youngtown, and it was age-restricted in 1954. A very big age restriction was imposed that no person below the age of 50 could enter. It was officially made a law there that no one below the age of 50 could legally buy land or live there. This was done in 1954. Then, almost 50 years later, in 1999, They realized and opened this age restriction, and that's why now, in Arizona, America, there is no such restriction anymore. Fact number 10. You must have seen chicken farms, maybe even goose farms, and farms for various other animals. But did you know that in China, there are almost 12 times more cockroach farms than chicken farms? This might sound unusual, but let me explain. China is far ahead in medicine production compared to many countries. You might have heard that many medicines use proteins derived from animals, such as cockroaches. The biological liquids inside cockroaches are used in various medicines. This is why there are farms in China where you will find not just thousands, but millions of cockroaches. Cockroaches, which we often take lightly, actually hold significant value. For instance, there is a species called rhino roach, scientifically named Macropenesthia rhinoceros. It is the world's most expensive cockroach, and not just expensive for fun. Each individual cockroach of this species costs around $1,500. Now imagine, if a cockroach farm in China has even 1,000 such cockroaches, and each cockroach is worth $1,000, it turns into $1 million business just like that. Fact number 9. The region we now know as modern Italy. That place was once known as Akragas. Let me tell you a very interesting story from that time. There was a king named Phalaris. From the name itself, he sounds like a villain, and true to his name, he was infamous for his cruelty. He was obsessed with maintaining discipline and control over his people, often through fear. To achieve this, he wanted to create a punishment so horrifying that it would terrify anyone who dared to commit a crime. Enter one of his sycophants, a man named Perelias. Like many such courtiers, Perelias had no regard for the common people and was only interested in impressing the king. One day, Perelias came to the king with an idea, a torture device called the Brazen Bull. Now, here's how the Brazen Bull worked. It was a large metal structure shaped like a bull, hollow from the inside. The idea was to place a person inside, light a fire beneath the bull, and heat it until the person inside was burned alive. As they screamed in agony, the sound would echo through the structure, making it seem like the bull was roaring. Horrific, right? King Phalaris loved the idea, and the device was built. But here's where it gets interesting. When the brazen bull was finally ready, the king told Perelias, "Show me how it works. Demonstrate it for me." Perelias, eager to please, climbed inside the bull to explain how the device would operate. But as soon as he got inside, the cruel king locked him inside and ordered the fire to be lit beneath the bull. He wanted to ensure the device worked perfectly. And thus, the very first victim of the brazen bull was none other than its inventor, Perelias himself. This chilling tale is a real historical account and serves as a grim reminder of how cruelty can often backfire in the most unexpected ways. Fact number 8. Since childhood, we've been told that if you see a lizard or a cockroach at home, it's not a big deal. They aren't dangerous to humans. But if you spot a scorpion, it's a different story altogether. You're immediately warned to tell everyone because the sting of certain dangerous scorpion species can even be fatal. Now here's a curious question. If scorpions are so dangerous, how is it that in many places around the world, like China, California, Arizona, and Mexico, people actually catch and eat scorpions? They're even considered a famous dish in some regions. How is that possible? Well, here's the science behind it. The venom inside a scorpion is essentially a set of proteins and chemicals. When the scorpion is heated or cooked, the proteins in its venom break down and the chemical structure of the venom changes. In simple terms, the venom is neutralized by the cooking process. Chefs who prepare dishes like fried scorpions know exactly how to cook them safely. That's why, although raw venom could harm or kill you, when carefully prepared and cooked, scorpions are no longer dangerous and are even considered a delicacy in some cuisines. So, next time you hear about people eating scorpions, remember it's all about proper preparation and cooking techniques. If you're still glued to this video, then take a moment and move that thumb, hit the subscribe button, and make sure to set notifications to all so you never miss out on fascinating facts like this every week. Fact number 7. This is an ultra-deep fact, and you'll need to listen carefully. There's a theory that when a person is dying, for instance, imagine someone whose eyes are closing, their brain slowing down, time might feel incredibly slow to them. You might think, okay, so time feels slow. What's the big deal? But hear this out. It's about perception. Here's the deep part. It's possible that to a dying person, time stretches so much that they feel trapped in the same moment for what seems like years. Think about this. Their brain is managing their sense of time through chemical processes. If those brain chemicals are altered, like with a drug that slows your perception, you could feel like an entire year has passed, while, in reality, it's just been 5 minutes. This theory suggests that the perception of time could become so slow during death that the person might relive moments of their life as if they were in a loop or see a summary of all the events in their life. For the people around them, this might be just a few minutes as they try to revive the person, but for the dying individual, it could feel like months or even years. It's strange and hard to grasp, but it's all a game of the mind. If brain chemicals are manipulated, perception itself changes. That's why people under the influence of certain substances often experience hallucinations or altered realities. They see things that aren't real. This shows that any experience can be created using neurochemicals. But here's the thing. We can't confirm what actually happens during this slow perception of time at death because, well, no one comes back to describe the experience after fully dying. Even near-death experiences, where people are revived, don't provide a full picture because the person didn't actually die. According to some, this slowed perception and the sense of time stretching might only occur when the soul leaves the body. It's a deeply thought-provoking idea and definitely worth reflecting on, even if it remains a mystery. Fact number 6. Astronauts go to the space station. They float and live there. But what do they actually do there? Now, the satellites orbiting the Earth are doing their job, set by computers. So why do people need to go there? When everything is computerized nowadays, what is the point of people staying there? And suppose 5 or 6 people go, is there any actual benefit? I mean, does the cost justify the benefits? So here's the answer. Yes. First of all, scientific experiments are conducted there. Yes, you might have expected this answer, that they go there to perform experiments. But what kind of experiments? They study living in zero gravity, eating, and how it affects the human bones. Plus, how much radiation damages the cells above. These are the things they investigate. That means astronauts conduct dark experiments on themselves. But why is this necessary? The thing is, humanity's future might be on Mars or somewhere else. So if we travel in a spaceship to Mars, it will take time to reach there, right? Several years. Can humans survive for so many days, or will they shrink completely, turning into just bones? We need to find all this out. That's why they go. So first, I explained scientific experiments. Second is maintenance. Look, the space station, as you might have guessed, has very complex parts. And yes, it's automated and computerized 90%. But the remaining 10% of things are manual, and those are the ones that need tweaking. Space stations still require humans. Fact number 5. You must have heard about the FBI in America, considered one of the world's most intelligent investigative agencies. Its agents are spread across the globe, investigating anti-national activities and uncovering conspiracies. There was an FBI agent named Robert Hansen who was given a mission to find out if someone within the FBI was leaking information to enemies. Robert reviewed all the files to identify who among their team could be betraying them. After 2 or 3 months of investigation, it was revealed that the person assigned this mission, Robert himself, was the traitor. Yes, Robert Hansen, who was trusted to catch the spy, turned out to be the mole. He was actually an agent of Russia's KGB. You're probably aware of the tension between America and Russia. Imagine this, a Russian agent working inside the FBI. The shocking part? The traitor was handed all the files and resources to catch himself. Hansen was finally caught in 2001, but he had been spying since 1979, 22 years. This incident is considered America's worst intelligence disaster. Few people know about this real-life event, which sounds straight out of a movie. If anything could ever truly mirror a spy thriller film, it would be this story involving intelligence agencies. Fact number 4. Many people think that during an eye transplant, the entire eye is replaced, like swapping out a light bulb. The phrase eye donation, the greatest gift, paints a picture in your mind of the eye as a spare part that can be removed from a deceased person and implanted into a patient. But the story doesn't unfold like this. What actually happens is that only the outer part, the cornea, is replaced. This small transparent layer is the part that finds a new home. The rest of the eye is untouched. Why is that? Behind the scenes, there are over 1 million tiny cables, nerves that connect your eye to your brain. Removing an entire eye and transplanting it into another person might sound like a fascinating idea in the medical field, but the reality is, it's just a dream, one that eye doctors hope for at night. A full eye transplant is currently impossible. In the future, it might become a reality. Think of your eye as a tree with deep roots. You can't just uproot that tree and place it in another soil without consequences. Technically, you might be able to transfer the tree with machines, but it wouldn't revive in the new soil. Similarly, transplanting a whole eye wouldn't bring it back to life. The hope lies in nanorobots. They could take this dream of full eye transplants from the pages of science fiction to reality. Nanorobots might create a future where every eye hospital has a special chair plugged into advanced tech. Patients could sit there, get their new light bulb fixed, one that would illuminate their lives anew. Fact number 3. Déjà vu. This term you've probably heard at least 1.2 million times. Déjà vu is that eerie feeling where you sense that something has already happened to you. But did you know that déjà vu has a hidden twin brother? A twin whose name was given by psychology, Jame Vu. While déjà vu makes you feel like you've experienced something before, Jame Vu is the exact opposite. It's when something familiar suddenly feels completely unfamiliar. To experience Jame Vu, try this. Go to your mom or sister and look at their face carefully. Tell your mom, wait a minute, let me just look at you. Keep staring for about 15-17 seconds. After a while, you might feel, wait, is this really my mom? It's a weird sensation, but it happens. Jame Vu is when something you're completely familiar with feels strange or alien. Psychology defines this phenomenon. And just like déjà vu, Jame Vu has earned its place in many psychological studies and books. The human brain is truly a jungle, calm on the surface, but holding countless mysteries within. Déjà vu, Jame vu, precognitive dreams, continuous dreams, visions of the future. There's just so much to explore. Fact number 2. This is a fact about people who don't eat non-vegetarian food. If you have a relative or friend who doesn't eat meat, and you bring non-veggie food close to them or near their face, they may get angry or upset. But here's an interesting fact. About 70% of all allopathic medicines in the world contain something derived from animals, even if someone avoids non-veg in their diet. When it comes to medicines or medical emergencies, unfortunately, everyone ends up consuming non-veg indirectly. For example, heparin, used to thin blood for heart diseases, is made from pig tissues. Premarin, used during menopause in women, is derived from a substance found in the urine of pregnant horses. The flu vaccine involves the use of kidney cells from monkeys. Medicines used to treat thyroid disorders are extracted from the thyroid glands of pigs. For emergencies like snake bites, scorpion stings, or other venomous attacks, the antivenom is created using proteins derived from the blood of horses and sheep. Unfortunately, there are no plant-based alternatives for many of these critical medicines. While some plant-based substitutes are now emerging for a few treatments, for cases like venom antidotes, no alternatives exist yet. Nature has created such a system in this world where truly being 100% vegetarian is nearly impossible, especially when it comes to modern medicine. Fact number 1. This is a very deep fact that most people haven't paid attention to. The human body is truly amazing, and you can understand this from one simple observation. Consider the electricity in your home. It has a voltage of 240 volts, right? Now, think about lightning in the sky. How much voltage does it have? The answer is 300 million volts. When we accidentally touch a live wire at home, the 240 volts can give us a nasty shock, leaving us shaken or even severely injured. But here's something incredible. There are some extremely unlucky people in this world who have been struck by lightning, meaning a direct hit from those 300 million volts while they were outside. And despite the enormous voltage, many of them survive. This shows how resilient the human body can be. You might have experienced the discomfort of a mild shock, but compare that to lightning, an insane jump in voltage and current. Yet in many cases, people walk away alive after being struck. When lightning hits, a person's hair might turn black or stand up due to the intense energy. But the fact that they survive such an immense force of nature is a miracle in itself. The human body's capacity to endure and recover is unbelievable. If you have any questions about the facts shared or want to know more, feel free to drop your thoughts in the comments. I'll make sure to address them in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you enjoyed the knowledge and found it valuable. Until then, take care, and I'll see you in the next video.
In 2013, a song was released called Pandemic, and its lyrics mentioned the 2020 coronavirus. It predicted bodies stacking everywhere due to the virus in 2020. How could a song predict such an event 7 years earlier? In this world, people dream of all sorts of things at night. But no one has ever dreamed of using a mobile phone in their dream. People dream of falling from buildings or flying, but operating a mobile phone, not a single person in the population has dreamt of that. What psychology lies behind this? And if your weight is, say, 50 kilograms, the pressure on your knees is actually 500 kilograms. Yes, your weight is multiplied by 10. How is this possible? Also, is love truly divine? Or is it just a trick of the mind? You must hear the answer to this. Welcome to the show of the useless show, not as useless as you think. Let's begin. Fact number 10. If I ask you which side of the earth is the top and which is the bottom, you might say the map shows the reality, with Russia, America, and other countries on the top side, and countries like Australia and New Zealand on the bottom side. But the truth is, the Earth doesn't have a universal top or bottom. That's why countries like New Zealand and Australia use an upside-down map. Yes, this is the upside-down world map, which is normal for them because they are in the southern hemisphere. In this map, India appears differently. This essentially means that most people live in the northern hemisphere, which is why the standard world map has become normal. But technically, if you flip the map, there's nothing wrong with it, because from space, the Earth has no up or down. For people in the southern hemisphere, this flipped map is normal. The main takeaway here is, there is no universal top or bottom of the Earth. Fact number 9. Dr. Creep is known for a special type of music, different from normal music. He creates songs with themes of dystopian futures, virus outbreaks, and worlds set 400 years ahead, filled with darkness and immorality. In 2013, Dr. Creep released a song called Pandemic. This song, released in 2013, had a line talking about the coronavirus that would emerge in 2020 and mentioned bodies stacking up, implying piles of dead bodies worldwide. How could a song released in 2013 include such lines predicting the coronavirus in 2020 and bodies stacking up everywhere? This seems impossible. However, during 2020, when people noticed this song, they started saying that Dr. Creep had some mystical power that allowed him to foresee this. This idea became quite intriguing to people. The truth, however, as Dr. Creep himself explained in an interview, is that it was merely a big coincidence. He said, "In my career, I create songs about apocalyptic events, and mentioning a virus is nothing unusual. It was just a huge coincidence." Also, the term coronavirus wasn't something people learned only in 2020. In fact, it wasn't a new term at all. The word coronavirus has existed since 1968. It refers to a category of viruses, not a specific name. So what people saw as a mysterious prediction was, in reality, just an incredible coincidence. Fact number 8. There's a lot of discussion on the internet about how no one has ever dreamed of using their mobile phone in a dream. People dream of falling from buildings, which is a crazy dream. But we never see ourselves using a mobile phone in a dream. What does psychology have to say about this? The biggest reason scientists provide is that humans have existed on Earth for about 300,000 years. But mobile phones, tablets, and TVs were invented just 1 or 2 centuries ago. This is practically nothing compared to 300,000 years of human existence. The human brain has developed over these 300,000 years, so these gadgets are relatively new to human experience. Think about it. Your ancestors, maybe 10,000 years ago, also dreamed just like you do. That's why normal things appear in dreams, like trees, houses, or even bullock carts, because people traveled in them in the past. Similarly, riding a bike might appear in dreams, because it has been around for some time. But sitting and using a mobile phone, that's a much newer activity. However, the most important point is that dreams are not random. They are actually a manifestation of your emotions. For example, if you're afraid of something in real life, like a snake, your dream might show you a snake biting you. Dreams reflect what is in your subconscious mind. Since mobile phones don't hold much emotional significance, they don't often appear in dreams. Fact number 7. Let me ask you a question about your weight. Suppose your weight is 50 kilograms. Now, if you're standing still in one place, it seems logical that the weight on your knees and feet would be 50 kilograms, right? When you stand still, your knees bear 50 kilograms of weight. But what if I ask you how much weight your knees bear when you walk? Common sense might suggest that if your weight is 50 kilograms, then while walking, the weight on your knees should still be 50 kilograms, since that's your body weight. But that's not the case. When you walk, you accelerate, decelerate, and move. While standing still, the weight on your knees is 50 kilograms. However, when you're walking and your foot hits the ground, a ground reaction force is created. This increases the weight your knees experience to 75 kilograms. And that's just walking. When you run fast, if your weight is 50 kilograms, multiply it by 4. Your knees experience 200 kilograms of weight, but that's still not the highest. When you jump and land back on the ground, your knees bear weight equal to 10 times your original weight. For example, if your weight is 50 kilograms, your knees experience 500 kilograms of load in that moment. So every time you jump and land, your knees experience a load that's 10 times your body weight. For people who are obese, weighing around 100 kilograms, a single jump makes their knees bear 1,000 kilograms of load. Now you can understand why older people often develop knee problems first. Touch your knees. They are an incredibly important part of your body. They bear the most weight, force, and strain. If your knees are pain-free, consider yourself lucky. Most young people don't have knee problems, but once they begin, life becomes incredibly difficult. Ask any elderly person about it, and they'll tell you how challenging it is. Fact number 7. One love is a very real and powerful feeling that all of us experience in this world. But the biggest question is love real, or is it just a game of chemicals? Scientists say that the chemicals released in the brain during love are the same as those released when consuming high-level drugs. Just like drugs make a person feel happy, increase energy, and suppress hunger and sleep, love does the same thing. Science explains that when you fall in love, 3 major chemicals are released in your brain: dopamine, oxytocin, and serotonin. This means love is not some magical force connecting 2 people. Instead, it's just a play of chemicals. Love, according to science, is a kind of survival mechanism, a natural system embedded in our brains to ensure that we mate with someone and continue the human population on Earth. Love happens, and that's how new babies are born, ensuring humanity's survival. From a scientific perspective, love is simply a survival strategy that motivates us to approach the opposite gender. Imagine for a second that this feeling of love and attraction toward girls is completely removed from you. what would happen? You would have zero motivation. Literally, not even the slightest desire to approach anyone. That's why the brain has this neurochemical system to create love and attraction, for the benefit of humanity. If it didn't exist, the world wouldn't exist either. Science views love as a clever system of nature. There's nothing magical about it. No soulmate concept. But we don't just talk about science. We go beyond it and explore spirituality. So what does spirituality say about love? Spirituality says that love is a divine feeling that is universal. Spirituality also acknowledges the Big Bang. It suggests that the universe began from a single point smaller than an atom, which exploded to create the vast universe we see today. Originally, we were all part of that same dot. Since we all started as one, it's believed that this oneness is why we feel attraction for everything, be it cars, a girl, or a beautiful mountain. For instance, when you see something beautiful, you feel a pull toward it. It's the same feeling of oneness we now experience as love. Even gravity works similarly. Every atom in this world attracts other atoms. If an asteroid is floating in space, it pulls other objects toward itself. There are no motors or machines making this happen. This attraction is an inherent feature of every atom. If I put you in space, you'd attract an asteroid toward you, and the asteroid would pull you toward it too. This is very similar to love. Just like gravity is a fundamental property of the universe, love is too. Spirituality teaches us that love is the basic nature of the universe. Science still hasn't fully understood the universe. It doesn't know where the Big Bang came from, or the true essence of love or quantum mechanics. So you could say that love is indeed a divine feeling. It's not just neurochemicals. There's a divine aspect to it. What do you think? Is love real? Give your thoughts about love in the comments. Fact number 6. Did you know that when Michael Jackson passed away, a court document revealed that he was $500 million in debt? This means he was in negative $500 million. Now you might wonder, how could such a famous person end up in this situation? Well, let me explain. This is not an isolated case. Many such situations have occurred in the past. The thing is, as much money as comes in, the lifestyle tends to get even more lavish. Michael Jackson owned a 2,700-acre estate, which was a massive piece of real estate, and it cost millions every month just to maintain it. His house had a private zoo, an amusement park within the vast boundaries, and many other extravagant features. On top of that, Michael Jackson had borrowed a lot of money from wealthy people, trusting that he would be able to pay it back. The people lending him money knew he was Michael Jackson, and believed he would eventually repay them. But what many people didn't know was that even when his popularity was at its peak, he quickly declined, and his sales dropped by half. You might know that the nature of the world is psychologically such that extraordinary craze doesn't last forever. The craze can exist, but it doesn't stay extraordinary forever. This was the situation with him. His sales dropped significantly over time, and his financial situation worsened. He never showed proper financial accountability. And when it was revealed that he was in $500 million in debt, the entire world was shocked. Fact number 5. Look, in every culture, butterflies are seen in a positive light. But do you know that if given the opportunity, butterflies can actually feed on human blood? Butterflies exhibit a behavior called mud puddling. Essentially, butterflies need moisture. Their attitude is such that they require moisture, meaning they need liquid. They don't care where the liquid or moisture comes from. They just need it. This is why butterflies are not as innocent as they seem. People often think of butterflies as pure, and songs like Butterfly, Butterfly are made for children, but they can actually be more like vampires. Fact number 4. Let me tell you something about ghosts and give you a scientific perspective on it. There's a huge theory in the paranormal world called the stone tape theory. This is an official term, and many books have been written on it. According to the stone tape theory, materials like wood, glass, and other substances can absorb and hold information. If any traumatic or intense vibes happen in a place, materials like wood, leather, or glass may store those vibes permanently. In the 19th century, many psychic researchers dedicated their lives to studying this theory. Some prominent researchers like Charles Babbage, Eleanor Sidgwick, and Eamon Gurney introduced this idea to the world. Now let's try to understand this theory. Just like when you speak, the words you say continue to exist after you've spoken them. The vibrations created in the air when you speak stay in the universe and never disappear. In a way, they continue to exist. According to the stone tape theory, the human brain can unconsciously or subconsciously read these vibes. This theory tries to scientifically explain ghosts. So if you see a ghost after midnight in a quiet place, it doesn't mean an actual ghost is there, but rather, it's a manifestation of the vibes or energy stored in that place. For example, if you visit an old mansion where many negative events like murders happened, the negative vibes and emotions that took place there may have been stored in materials like wood, glass, or stone. During the night, your brain is calmer and more sensitive, so you can pick up these subconscious vibes and they get manifested as ghosts, illusions, or even sounds that might seem like spirits. It's not an actual spirit, but your brain reacting to stored energy. This theory is called the stone tape theory, because materials like stone can store energy and vibrations for a long time. Unlike other materials, stone can retain this energy for thousands of years. So the term stone refers to the material, and tape means recording or storing. The bottom line is that our minds play a huge role when it comes to understanding the paranormal world. Fact number 3. The fact I'm about to tell you is something to really pay attention to. We all know that magnets have two poles, a north pole and a south pole. Now let me ask you this. Is there any magnet that only has a north pole and no south pole? This question might sound simple, but it's actually very deep. According to the laws of physics in this world, actually in the entire universe, there cannot be a magnet with just one pole. A north pole without a south pole simply doesn't exist. This is because the laws of nature state that every magnet must have both a north and south pole. But when scientists started studying quantum mechanics and delved deeper into the mysteries of our universe, they discovered something extraordinary, a particle called the magnetic monopole. This magnetic monopole is a theoretical particle that has only one magnetic pole, either a north or a south, without the other. It's a concept that could revolutionize our understanding of physics, but despite its theoretical existence, magnetic monopoles have never been observed directly in nature yet. However, their discovery would be groundbreaking, because it goes against everything we know about magnets so far. Fact number 2. The two largest planets in our solar system are Jupiter and Saturn. Saturn is especially famous for its stunning rings, which are massive. However, I shared an interesting fact earlier. NASA confirmed a planet named J1407b that has rings 200 times larger than Saturn's rings. Now imagine this. Saturn's rings are huge to us, but compared to J1407b, they seem tiny. The universe is so vast that even what we consider enormous might be just a speck in the grand scale of things. For example, Jupiter, which is already massive, is still minuscule compared to many other planets that exist in the universe. And guess what? Even the father of J1407b's rings might itself have a father somewhere out there, a planet far larger than anything we can imagine. The size of things in the universe has no limit. Just when we think we've discovered the most amazing thing, something even more mind-blowing is waiting to be uncovered. Our universe is truly incredible. Fact number 1. You may already know that there are some diseases that everyone on Earth fears. For example, a cough or fever can be cured, but if someone contracts HIV, it is considered almost impossible to recover. There are certain situations in life where there's at least a 1% chance of survival, but with HIV, without treatment, death is almost certain, according to science. Here's an interesting fact. HIV can only be transmitted from a person who already has HIV. If the other person is healthy, they cannot get HIV. So this raises the question, how did HIV first originate in humans? You might not believe it, but HIV is believed to have first emerged due to animals. Specifically, it is thought to have originated in Africa, where humans first made contact with animals. In Africa, there is a species of monkey known as the sooty mangabe. The first HIV case might have happened when a human came into contact with the blood of one of these monkeys, possibly through a wound. This contact could have led to the virus being transmitted from the monkey to the human. From there, it is believed that the disease spread from humans to humans. So somewhere in Africa, there must have been the first person who unknowingly started the HIV epidemic. Now, I want to hear your thoughts. What's one question you've been wondering about? Comment it below and subscribe to stay part of the journey. Let's meet again in another video.